So we're going to go over the supplies we need to make the ring drops. What's going to be in your kit. You're going to have your pre-cut shapes. You're going to have your pastel palette. Grabbing one because they're dusty. You're going to have your makeup sponge to add detail, and fire line. You're going to have your selection of beads and your ear wires. These are the items that you need to supply. I'm using the green Shrinkets bead mold, the white Shrinkets dome mold, and I am going to be using a hand forming bowl to contain my heat. I'm using fire line cutters. These are a selection of styles. A number 10 beading needle, and a craft heat gun, and pliers, a round nose and a straight nose. Then I am showcasing Posca markers on this, and these are the brand by Uni, and these are a number, I use the number 7mm tip, and then a Sharpie marker. So let's get started. Let's get started on our ring drops project, and I'm gonna go over how I made the die cuts for this. I do recommend on this one that you do buy the kit, because these can be a little time consuming, and these are custom made to go with the little drops that are in the kit. So first of all, for the big ring, I took a shape. I pre-cut the shape, and then I cut the inner circle separately. And I played around until I found a center hole that landed where I wanted it to on my drop. So what I found was this shape, and so when you're finding a shape, you measure the closest tips on this, which that is right at 3/4, and that will shrink down in half to what is half of 3/4, 3/8. And that whatever drop you have, you can measure your drop and go, okay, where would I like that to land, and get a piece. Like if this is, you want it at the 3/4 mark on your drop, then you want a center hole that'll shrink down to that size. And shrink plastic shrinks in half, so that's why I went with the 3/4. Okay, so then you can use your center finder, and you can mark, and then you will do, you will take a pencil, and you can draw your shape on here. Then when you lay it on your roller mill, you've got your center, and you can use a little Scotch tape to tape that down. Okay, so that's how that was done. Now the little one, I used this shape that I had and I didn't punch out this tiny one. I left it connected, and that made it easy for this one here. And I also measured what size do I want, where do I want that to land. So at my tiny tips, I was a 1/2 inch, so I knew it would shrink down to 1/4 inch, and I knew my ring would land about right there. So this one became perfect. Now, if you don't have one like that, you can start with a shape and then do the exact same thing. Center that in your center finding template and mark it. And there, when you lay it on your roller mill, you know where it's, you can tape it down and you know where that hole will be. Now, then I marked little holes like this, and I used my hole punch. This was on the smaller one, and this, I used my 1/8 inch hole punch, and this will be for where I'm going to stitch in my beads. Now, the only disadvantage, oh dear, of using something with this connected is you will get these little marks on here, but they come out when it's shrunk. They flatten back out. Now, I want to talk about another thing when choosing a shape. It's important that you give yourself enough room on whatever shape between the cutting edge and the deepest cut on your shrink plastic. If you don't, notice how close this one is, and over here, you will get breakage. So those things are things to be mindful of. And I played with all of these shapes several times to find which ones worked for this project. Also, on this one here, or if you're using it like this, you have these little guys. They will make a selvage that makes a small bead. And I put those in your kit too, because then you can use them on your design. So that's how I created the Shrinkets shapes. The center finder, I sell that on my website at juliehaymaker.com, and the link is always in the description, as well as the link for the kit. And I also sell many, over 50 some Shrinkit or thin metal dies that you can use in your roller mill type things, like your Sizzix Big Shot, that type of thing. And that's my favorite way to cut shrink plastic, using the Big Shot or the switch, a roller mill, versus an electronic internet-based cutter like a Cricut. So now we're going to get started. We're ready to start coloring our Shrinkets. If you did this without the kit and you had to draw a pencil line, to line up your center dies, erase that. If you bought the kit, you won't have that. You won't have pencil lines on things. So we've got our little pastel palette, and we're going to start with our big ones. And be mindful of your colors that you're going to be using. The little beads on these pieces will be, you have yellow and green beads and orange beads to pick from. And on this piece, the big one is blue, so you know, if you want it all in the blue and green shades, go all blues and greens, but know that this is going to have yellows and greens. You have yellow and green choices. Or you can do contrasting colors, you know, oranges, a complement of blues. That'd be nice. What I'm going to do on this is stripes of greens and turquoises. So that's the beauty of having the little makeup sponge, is I'm able to define and select areas kind of like a pencil or paintbrush, and just do certain areas where my finger, just putting it on with my finger, it's not as, it doesn't give me the ability to select, what's the word I want? Doesn't have the agility. There we go. So I'm coming in with this blue, green, so I've got a little bit of orange on there. I want to get away from that mess. Okay, I'm going to come in with this blue and maybe just put some on my tips. Now, remove that, because I've got a lot of dust going on here. And wipe my hands. And on these, I'm going to be doing oranges and pinks. So I'm on the frosted side. And then on these, this one appears like I should probably wash that off. It's got a little discoloration on it. Coming in with pink. And you can do any, I got a little orange in that, so it made a nice coral color. Put the orange in the center. There's my colors. Now, clean off my hands, and I'm on the shiny side with these guys. And what I'm going to do, you can use a Posca marker for this, or you can use a black Sharpie, and I like the extreme. And I'm going to come in and put little dots out here on the shiny side. And when I work with the Puscas on this, if you do not have Puscas, just use your Sharpie Extreme. It'll be black. So I'm going to put little lines out here. Whoops, it got a little crooked on that. Okay, or these are ones that I had done earlier and I did dots on them. Okay, we're ready to shrink. The two molds I'm going to be using for shrinking is the domed white mold and the green fluted spacer bead mold. I am going to have my hand forming bowl out here. And if you've watched previous videos, you know that I like this also to contain the heat and help my shrink plastic heat evenly, which helps a little bit more in not having a center hole go oval. And that can happen with shrink plastic once in a while and certain batches, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just the nature of the plastic. It doesn't matter. All brands will have issues once in a while. And I do a YouTube video. You can look through my videos and find how to repair oval shape, round shapes that have gone oval on you. So it can be fixed. So we're going to heat around the perimeter of our bead. And we don't really use our glide pin, but we use it to help us eyeball lining it up. And if our piece moves, it kind of helps it from flying off the mold. Now I'm going out to my perimeter with this. See, pulling those petals out away from the center. I'm aligning, eyeballing up. Eyeballing is the only way you can do this. And then just holding down till it forms. And we get this wonderful, lovely shape. Okay, you're going to do both of those. Next, we're going to do our round beads. And this one here, our smaller ones that we'll be stitching into, I'm going to choose to put shiny on the outside of my bead, so I'm putting shiny down. And we're doing this the same way. And I have a pencil ready or something sharp and pointed ready, and I'll show you why. Anything you have handy that can help you. You'll see why. This is why, because it tends to not want to stay in the center. And sometimes it's better to do this in 2 steps. Get it lined up in there. It's cooled. See, I lined it up in there, took the pin out, and then I'm reheating. Now it's not going to move much. It's pretty centered. And I'm just going to reheat it so it gets just soft. Whoops, it moved. And then I'm going to come down and press. Even if it's a little off to the side, my whole dome, the whole thing is round. So notice if it goes off like this and I still hit it, the edges are round and this is round, and that will give me my round shape. So do both of those. And then next we're going to do these little guys, and I'm going to do shiny down. And you don't have to use these if you don't want to. I will be using them in the design. And I get this fun little pinwheel. Okay. Finish all your pieces. It's double for each. And we'll start to assemble. Next, we're going to be putting Puscas on these. And if you don't have the Puscas, just skip past this, or you can use the black Sharpie to do this. And I'm going to be showing you how to edge these little guys. The colors I'm going to pick will be based on how it looks on here. So I've got this look, and and then I'll have the orange. So the aqua green would be fun on this, and maybe orange or pink. So I'm going to shake up my Posca and pool it. And then if I just want, I'm going to show you two things. I can just put it on the tips here and just do little spots, or I can fill the entire thing in and then just let the tip pool down in there if I do it that way. So I've chosen to do the entire edge, and because I have this little black dot here, I'm bringing my black Sharpie over the tips to give that a continuous look. So my little tips are getting done. And if I've lost my little black, I'm coming back in and adding it again. And you can do any color you want here because the Poscas will layer up over each other. So that's I missed a couple of spots. So that's the look I'm getting with my little stripe ones. I'm going to come in and bring that black over the edge too. And like I said, you can do this with the Posca black also. So this is one I did earlier, and note on this one here that I did an orange dot on the edge of these with the Posca. Ready to bead the little tiny rings. And so I've taken my 2-ply fire line and I've threaded it onto a number 10 needle, and I doubled it over and I tied a knot on the tails so that it just wouldn't separate. Okay, then you're gonna come down, down through one of the holes from the top down this way, and you'll have your tail sticking out. Then you're going to skip over. You're going to leave a good, length here. It looks like only about 2.5 inches. That will be for tying off our knots. And you're going to add your little sequins. You'll add one sequin at a time and pick up a seed bead. And I think I've given you green or yellow in your kit. I'm going to be using yellow. I put the yellow on. I bypassed it, meaning I didn't go down through the yellow bead. I skipped it. I went down through the sequin in the hole in the Shrinkets, and then I went over to the next hole. And I'm going to do that again. I'm going to add a sequin and a yellow bead, little yellow seed bead. I'm not going to go down through the yellow seed bead. I'm going down through the sequin and the hole. And I'm going to add all 8 little sequins and all 8 little seed beads. I'm on the last one. I've added my sequin and my seed bead by coming up through the hole where the tail was. Now I've got those on, and now I'm going to bypass the yellow bead. I'm only going to come through the sequin, and then I'm going to slide this down as close as I can get, and I'm going to tie a knot between my Shrinket bead and my sequin, and that will pull that all together. Next, I'm going to tie a surgeon's knot. That's the same way you tie a regular knot, but I'm going around the hole a couple of times and snugging that under, and I'm going to do that another time. So I'm going to give there 3 knots under that. And then I will cut my line as close as I can get so that my line doesn't show. And there you have it. We're ready to assemble, and we're going to be using components in this, and you'll have a variety to pick from. And I happen to have black O-rings, but you may have a different color, purple or an orange or something. And then we have the littler ones. So you're going to need your pliers, wire cutters, and pliers for making a loop at the end of this. And we're going to take our black head pins, and we're going to start to assemble. Kind of put on this, a green one. I think I grabbed the wrong head pin. I think that one had been cut. So black, green, use a little O-ring. I have the option for that. I'm putting on my blue, black. I have this guy. Now I can put him up that way or the shiny side up. Doesn't matter. And I also can play with my O-ring. My O-ring doesn't have to go down there. It can go up here if I want it. You just decide. I can't decide, so I'm just going to put it on the bottom. And then this guy, then you're going to finish it off. And I'm choosing, let's see, a little green sequin. And I've got several of these little gear beads to pick from. So I think I will... actually, I'm going to switch out my sequin here. I think the cupped ones are the ones I put in your kit. And, I mean, I can play with any of the colors that I have in here. Like if I had a purple O-ring, that one would be fun to put on there. I think I'm going with the pink. And then I can finish off, if I've got enough room to make a loop on there, I can finish off with the black, or I can put a tiny like seed bead on there, I think. Nope, the seed beads don't fit on there. So I'm gonna try to make my loop with what I have left here. I'm gonna hold this down and take my round nose pliers and I'm bending this way. Then I'm coming up here, gave myself a little space, and then right here at the tip, I'm bringing the tip around and I've made this little loop. Now, these are your wire earring wires, and these are stainless steel that have been electroplated black, and they're really strong, so use a strong pair of pliers to open that loop up and then close it. And there we have our cute little earring sequence, and I will make my second one. My second pair here, I'm going to once again show you how you make the loop. Notice I'm grabbing this like so, putting my thumb there so I can pull down all of my length here. See the position I have? Then I'm grabbing this right down here and pulling this way back. Then I'm going about midpoint and I'm bending it over while pushing down, keeping that down. Then I'm grabbing the very tip of this and bringing it around. And then I don't have any that I have to cut off with my wire cutters. So once again, taking strong pliers, opening the loop up, strong pliers again to close it, because this is the steel. And coming in there and squeezing that shut. Then I have ear nuts to put on this if I need them. So there we are, and thanks for joining me. The latest Shrinkets earrings. This class is free on YouTube, and you can buy a companion kit. So festive and fun.